Hi, I'm Emily Fanning and I'm a student in Dr. Norwood's Ag Econ 4213 Advanced Quantitative Methods class. I'm going to tell you about a taste test project that my class conducted to find out if people's taste preferences and brand preferences for Sprite and Shasta Twist really matched up. To answer this, we asked two main questions. Does product labeling affect the purchasing decision of a consumer? And during a blind taste test, which soda is preferred the most by consumers? You may think these are simple questions, but in fact, when it comes to purchasing goods, people's preferences can be pretty surprising. It's important to understand that people's purchasing decisions are not based exclusively on the taste of the product itself, but they are also influenced largely by the product's label and reputation. A perfect example of this is in the Freakonomics podcast, Do Expensive Wines Taste Better? This podcast discussed two different experiments conducted by economists Steve Levitt and Robin Goldstein, asking the question, does the price of wine influence people's preferences? In the second half of the podcast, Robin Goldstein discusses how he conducted more than 6,000 blind taste testings using wines that ranged in price from $150 to $150. Concluding that individuals who are unaware of the price of the wine they are drinking do not derive more enjoyment from more expensive wine. His findings also showed that people actually ranked the cheap wines higher than they ranked the more expensive wines. This type of research can help people make better shopping decisions because it can help them save money. It does this by showing people that less expensive or off brands are actually preferred over the more expensive name brands. To prove this to you, I will tell you about the experiment we conducted and you can see for yourself. Here's a video clip showing our experiment. To conduct our experiment, we conducted two smaller experiments within our main soda taste test experiment. The first experiment is labeled the orange experiment and the second is labeled the black experiment. Both experiments started out the same. As participants arrived, we greeted them, asked if they would participate in our taste test, and if they agreed, we handed them a clipboard and a survey. The surveys were divided equally into versions A and B. Both versions of the survey contained the same questions. We just mixed up a few variables to make sure that everything was randomized. However, if the person declined to participate in the taste test, we thanked them for their time and wrote down that they told us no, so we had a running total of how many people declined. The orange experiment. The orange experiment answers the question, which soda do subjects prefer in a blind taste test? To conduct the orange experiment, we had trays labeled with either a circle or a square drawn on a post-it note. Both the circle and square trays held two cups labeled 1 and 2, as you can see in this picture. One contained Sprite and the other Shasta Twist. Next is the other part of our experiment, which is the black experiment. This is the labeling test. The black experiment answers the question, which soda can do consumers prefer when the cans contain the same soda? To conduct the black experiment, we prepared trays labeled either A, B, C, or D. In this experiment, instead of cups, we used actual Sprite and Shasta Twist cans. To test whether brand name influences the participant's preference, we changed what can held what soda for each letter. In the picture here, the tray labeled with letter C held a Sprite can containing Shasta Twist on the subject's right, and a Shasta Twist can containing Shasta Twist on their left. We did this so the customer would not know exactly what kind of soda they were drinking, and so they would have to base their decision on labeling alone. Here's some behind the scenes. How did we acquire our sample audience? We made up our sample by asking Dr. Brian Adams' price analysis class to participate in our taste test. In addition to the class, we also recruited people passing by to our taste test station to be a participant in the taste test. Some of the experiment protocols we had were to randomize what we can't control. So some people might have the tendency to prefer the first or last soda they try, regardless of taste. We had half the subjects taste one soda first, and the other half taste the other kind of soda first, so that the results are largely free of bias. What we do control are that we made everything convenient for the participants. We displayed everything the same. We made everything the same level of attractiveness. Also, we didn't let them talk to each other, so no one influenced anyone else. We also controlled which soda they taste first by the labels the circle and square. We conducted 2 types of taste tests: a blind taste test and a label test. We had 2 versions of the taste test, versions A and B. Here's the actual survey we used in our taste test. I'll read to you some of the questions that we used. As you can see, this is version A. One question is, of the 2 drinks, Sprite and Shasta Twist, if they were both the same price, which would you prefer to buy? Another question, how certain are you of your preferences for these 2 drinks? How often do you prefer to drink sugary drinks? And how often do you drink Sprite, generic brands of Sprite, or other non-caffeinated sugary but lemon-lime drinks? Here are the data from our orange experiment, or the labeling test. These are very, very similar. As you can see on the dislike slightly, right here, they're both 7%. Here, 0 and 2%, which are also really close, 13 and 18, 40% and 36%, 40% and 31%, and 0 and 7%. Also, as you can see, the yellow line is the Shasta Twist preference, and the red line is the Sprite preference. The black experiment data, this was the blind taste test, and you can see that the Shasta Twist is in orange and the Sprite is in blue. This is also very, very close. As you can see on dislike slightly, 7 and 4%, 0 and 0 here, 22 and 22%, 36 and 29, 29 and 38, and 7% and 7%. The results of our taste test. I found that our taste test results, people both clearly preferred Shasta Twist over Sprite in both the blind taste test and based on product design. As you can see, 71.11% preferred Shasta Twist over Sprite in a blind taste test, and the percentage of people who preferred Shasta Twist over Sprite based on product design was 82%. This is just pretty much Shasta Twist is blowing Sprite out of the water here. And that's good news for consumers because that's the off-brand, which will save you money. Thank you for watching my presentation and listening. I hope you enjoyed it. That's it.